Spirit show through me as I open up to be an expression of your unfolding love. As I open up to be an expression of your unfolding peace, and Spirit show through me as I open up to be an expression of your unfolding love.
Good evening and welcome to our Midweek Faith Lift. My name is Shannon Le Brun. I'm joined here with the special guest who joined us last year at this time, maybe a few months, a year and some change ago.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
I'm joined here by a spiritualist. I'm going to call you a spiritualist.
I totally ascribe to that. That is very much my belief system, kind of bringing in a lot of different things.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, spiritualist Bethe Motlow.
Hello.
Welcome to our podcast.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me back.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I love having you here because you bring so much positive energy and just enthusiasm and zeal. That's one of the 12 powers, zeal.
I didn't know this.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah, you bring that. Yeah. You definitely bring that.
I appreciate that. Yeah.
Last time you were here, you talked about the keys, a class you took with Reverend Doug, Keys to the Kingdom. You talked about living in your vision.
Yes.
Talked about that 1850 farmhouse that you acquired and in the vision board that class that you got.
Yes. I highly recommend that class. It really is it was a life changer for me. What better place to hide what you really, the key to yourself is in your heart. God was really smart with that. So this class is addressing that the keys to the kingdom are always in your own possession, which is in your heart. So whenever you something really like you feel your heart expand when you see it and you're just like, oh my gosh, I want to experience that. That is usually like straight from spirit, And so if you can get out of the way and not worry about how to get there, but just operate from that place of like trusting that whatever's in your heart is meant for you, is part of your path. Wow. Then, you just put it out there and things and people and ways will show up that you just never expected. Like, it really is truly, whenever you aim from your heart, that's when everything can fall into place. Wow. Yeah.
It's tough to get there. It's tough to get to that heart because that monkey mind is always going.
It is going. Yeah. And one of the things that I
How could you be so stupid? You think you're going to do that?
I know, like your monkey mind's going, oh, you're crazy. You can't get that. Exactly. That house is out of your expenses. You cannot afford it. It is not doable. And every door opened for me in that. And so just trusting and knowing that people can show up that you've never even met, that you don't know, that, are just going to guide, trust that Spirit guides your path, And when you're feeling a little bit stuck in it and like, I don't know what to do next, then sit with yourself and just ask the question, what's holding me back? Like, what is it? Is there still things here I need to finish up? Like, and when you get really still and quiet, Spirit can talk to you then too. Like sometimes you get so busy, like push, hard. And we need to get this. I need, make sure it's not coming from ego. Make sure it's still just coming from your heart.
Do a heart check.
Yeah. Do the heart check for sure. So one of the exercises that I did last year regarding heart and heart energy was my kid had come into town for Mother's Day, and I hadn't seen her for a year and a half, you know, because of the pandemic.
Right.
And so we went into town, and we were just shopping, and I had bought like a tiny little bow and arrow. And so we were out there trying to do it, and it was like a kid one, and she was like, "Let's go get a real one." So in Dayton, where I was living, they had a sports shop, and there was like these beautiful bows. I should have brought that today. I don't know where it's at right now, but anyway, it's this beautiful bow, and it was made by a Native American man. I mean, just gorgeous. And so we're out there, and she and I are doing this together. So, and you know, when you're shooting off a bow, you pull it back like this. That's coming from your heart.
Wow.
So what an exercise of like expanding and opening yourself by doing some archery. Like, highly recommend that.
Wow.
Like, and it landed on me. I was like, you know, Spirit came and said, you know, when I was doing this exercise, like,
open up.
When you aim from your heart, you always hit your target.
Wow.
That was like such an epiphany for me. Like, it was just amazing. So I had that amazing house, and I'll show you that vision board again.
And that's from this is from
2007. 2007,
Mm-hmm.
as you see this house right here. And so it took, 2015 before I actually like realized this vision. Then didn't even realize I'd realized the vision until I was moving in and found that board again. And I was like, holy crap, there's the house, because this was the house.
Because you kind of did the vision board, put it away, forgot about it.
All those things. And then this is the house I was in. So it was very similar to the house that was on my vision board. So yeah, last year in the, bow and arrow kind of stuff, I had a companion show up that I wasn't expecting. And so that made me think about our talk today. And it's and so I think what I want to kind of address is your changing vision, because that was a fantastic, an amazing experience. And every time I tell people I've sold my house and moved back to town, they look at me like I've lost my mind. They're like, you had 8 acres, you had, the beautiful house, you had the creek, but I also, during a pandemic, it was hard because it was a pretty prison. I didn't have neighbors, I didn't, and so sometimes at least I have learned this in my experience, that you're here to be a light, and so no matter where you're at, whether you're in a big farmhouse or a fancy house in Ottawa, or a shoebox on the street, you're the light that radiates from the space. And so if you don't give Spirit room for changes, then you might be missing out on some really amazing miracles that want to come. So I had become very comfortable in the house and thinking this is just where I was going to land forever. And then things changed, and
now can I ask you a question? When you say things change, did your vision personally change?
Yes.
Did your heart change?
Yes.
Or did circumstances around you change?
Everything changed. Everything, because I decided that I really wanted to be in relationship more than I wanted to be living in a vision, and so and I had great people come out and stay. Like, I'm so grateful for all the amazing things that happened out there, but life just changes. And so and it's like your soul is wanting to evolve.
Oh my Lord, that's powerful.
Your soul wants to evolve. And so when the soul wants to evolve, thoughts are planted. Like, what if you considered this? What if you considered that? And I'm like, I can't do any of that. I can't do that. And all that monkey mind stuff going, I can't. And then it landed on me, and I actually fell out there and kind of hurt myself. And I was by myself didn't have my cell phone or anything. And I was like, why am I doing this? Like, I'm creating these beautiful spaces for people to experience, and I had people come experience. Why am I not creating something for myself that is truly like what I want to experience?
So I want to stop for a second. I want to be clear that that, and I'm saying this just for audience purposes, our vision can change.
Our vision.
We give ourselves
change.
permission to
Yes.
change our vision.
Yes.
Right? And that
Yes.
it's nothing wrong with letting that part of our lives go. Because sometimes we feel like, I know for me, I feel like, okay, I got this. God gave it to me.
Yes.
I'm obligated now. I
Right.
shouldn't let this go. This is
Right.
given to me. I
Right.
should appreciate it if
Right.
I let it go.
I
How
should
dare
hold
me let this go?
tight. Hold tight to
Right.
it and never let it go.
Yeah. And that's what house, that's any
That's
relationship,
anything.
all
Yes.
kind of stuff.
Yes.
Things
Yes.
change,
Yes. Yes.
And so I'm glad you're
But
saying that happens and it's
it
okay.
happens.
Because the soul starts to call.
The soul is like, okay, we've been here, we've done this, so now what's next?
Wow.
And you're like, and I mean, I literally cried so many times, like, what am I doing? Why am I leaving this? Like, I have lost my mind,
Right.
but I haven't.
Mm.
And it's time, so it's just really trusting that inner guidance that's like calling out from your heart that says, what if I did something different?
Wow. And then here we go again.
And here we go again.
She's crazy.
Here we go again. She's crazy. She's like, so I thought I had a little apartment and I thought that was all good. So I sold my house, and a week after I signed the contract, I find out from the apartment building they're going to do something different with it, and I had to get out. And I was like, no, I can't. This is not okay. And so I was extremely stressed, and I wasn't leaning on spirit very much.
Mm-hmm.
And so I allowed myself to be super in this panic mode.
But that was ushering in this newness that was being created in you also. Am I right? Like, although it was scary, it was the new stuff that you wanted to create.
Yes.
That was a part of the letting go.
Yes, the letting go of, because the law of attraction and the laws with that Unity studies is like, the universe doesn't like a void. So if you don't create a void, then you can't have a new thing fill it up.
Wow.
So, so it's like sand. Sand wants to keep filling, and if it's stopped up with something, then it can't fill.
Stuff, things. Yeah.
Things and stuff. And so this exercise is enabling me. I haven't done it completely. My friends know I've got way too much stuff, but it's a lot of my parents' things that have passed away. My brother who's passed away, like all of my family's gone. And so this experience has allowed me to free myself of some of that clutter. I'm still working through that, but the right house showed up for me, and it's in an area that is still, needs some love. And so this is the new house, and it looks like a little church.
Well, let me zoom in on that.
Okay.
Bring it up a little.
So that's the new house.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah. So it's, it's tiny. I have half the house, and I have zero land. Zero. But
what's wrong with you?
I know. No, exactly.
I'm joking. I'm just being your monkey mind for a second.
It's a chance for me to recreate,
right.
like what the next chapter of my life looks like. And even though, not everything stayed the same when I moved here, I'm learning that this is exactly where I'm supposed to be. And I've had so many neighbors and people who live in the neighborhood just say, I'm so glad you're here. Look how beautiful you're making this space. And we need this kind of energy and light in the neighborhood.
Wow.
And the bottom line is, be the light where you are. And if it's time for you to move, be the light where you're going.
Wow.
Because you are a beacon. Like, you just don't understand how much energy you project out. And you can do that with good or with frustrating, or less than good. But you have so much to offer the world. And so in this process of this move, I've understood that I want to do more design. I really enjoy that. That feeds my soul. And being in a smaller space and not having all that maintenance to do every weekend, working on something at that farmhouse, this frees me up to like have a social life, to have enjoyment, to have joy in my life again. Where the house wasn't out there, was not giving me joy, but it was giving me joy in different ways. And so now this is more manageable, and like I can go on some trips, or I can go be social, So so I'm grateful. I'm still figuring it out. But I'm excited to see what the universe is bringing next. You know, I mean, one of the quotes I wanted to share with you was Einstein's quote of "Imagination is everything."
Wow.
It's the preview of life's coming attractions. Just think about that. So whatever you're envisioning for your life is what you're going to bring into yourself. You know, and you know, if you're doing it from a place that's non-egoic, you know, that's like really focusing on what does my heart really want. Your heart may want that Maserati, and maybe that's for you. Maybe Spirit will bring that to you, but maybe your heart just wants comfort and
peace.
Safety and
love,
peace and love. And what does that look like? Maybe that's a Honda, you know.
Right.
You know, it's gonna be easy to maintain, but it's not for me to tell you that. Like, that's where you have to dive deep and like understand
and be honest with
and
yourself.
be honest with yourself. You know, what really brings me joy. You know. So, you know, like just embracing those changes. And when they pop up, because literally Spirit talks to everyone all the time. I'm no different than anybody else, but Spirit will like just drop a seed, and it'll be like, what if you considered this? And you're like,
Let's talk a little bit about how to get in touch with your heart. Because I know there's a lot of distractions out there, and sometimes we can get confused with what we want and what society or the distractions are saying that we need to have.
Exactly.
And so, what are some of the things you do to get in touch with your heart, to get in touch with who you are as a person and what you want?
You sit and meditate. Some is what you do. Like you know, and whether you call it meditation, whether you're out walking and you see things that you want to experience through the neighborhood or what have you, like, you know, just Spirit will usually like repeat, so it'll keep sending you kind of a similar message. And when you like connect the dots, like you're like, oh, this has been saying this for a while, and I am just now understanding it. You know, but just getting quiet, getting your mind quiet, like, you know, I know like everybody, you know, with all the social media and all that kind of stuff, if you can shut it down just a little bit, you know, if you some during the day, but you know, like everybody's watching Dahmer right now. Okay, I lived in Milwaukee during the Dahmer years. Okay, it was terrible. Right. It was terrible. And I would never want to experience that in my life, so I would never watch that. Okay? So thinking about what you digest visually, super important. You know, like if you don't want to experience true crime, then maybe don't watch that every night of the week. You know, it's a nice, like, the mind enjoys it because it wants to consume it. It's like, oh yeah, and that's really interesting, and it's a mystery and all this. But there's other mysteries that you can solve, like, as in what's really in your heart.
That's a beautiful mystery to solve.
Yeah.
That requires time with self.
It requires time with self. Yeah.
And so one of the things you do is meditate.
Meditate, go for walks, ride bikes. You know, I tend to do a lot of stuff outside to bring out the inside of my heart.
Yeah. So I know like a situation, not a situation, but the predicament or situation that you're in now. Although it's something that you want, although it's something that's bringing, you know, is joyful. It's going to bring peace. I know when I've put myself in those situations, it's a little uncomfortable.
It is very uncomfortable.
And so for me, I'm wondering, you know, just for the viewers, you know, what do you do to deal with that discomfort until it becomes normal? You know, because right now it's kind of like you're nesting. You're kind of getting used to this new
I'm trying to
space.
figure out where to put all my stuff in my house. Like, it's frightening. Okay, it is frightening. I'm like, ooh, I didn't think about how small this is going to be. But it's making me get in touch with what I really use.
Wow.
What I really use. Like, parts of grief, when you've lost all of your family, like I have, parts of grief are being afraid to let go of my mom's favorite coffee mug. I don't drink coffee, but her favorite coffee mug, or her favorite sweater, or this piece of furniture that Aunt so-and-so gave to so-and-so, and I need to save it. None of that will ever bring them back.
Right.
And if you can free up your heart space to let go of that and let someone else enjoy it, you know, whether you donate it or have a yard sale or whatever it is that your heart desires to I tend to pass things along. I have a hard time selling things, so I pass things along. But when you can free that up, then you can experience them in spirit even more because you don't have all the clutter of theirs that maybe had some like hard things attached to it. You know, like, like maybe that coffee mug, they had a lot of hard conversations or arguments over when she was using it, you know, and you're like,
you got
do
it
I
in your
really
living room,
want that
hold it,
energy in my space?
Because those things hold energy. They definitely hold energy.
Yeah.
And so, dealing with, you know, the uncomfortability, you say some of the stuff that one of the things you do is let some of that stuff go.
Just let it go.
Yeah.
And passing it on to like a charity or something that feels really good. And you know, I pass it on to friends. I pass it on to clients. Like, you know, I see a need and I'm like, oh, that would be perfect. And let me just do that. And it makes your heart expansive because all of a sudden you've freed up some space and you've touched someone in a very personal way.
Yeah. I know a lot of times what I've seen people do is they make a heart move. They do a heart check. They make a heart move. They experience a whole bunch of discomfort for that move.
I'm not saying it's easy, people.
Right. They experience that discomfort, and then from that discomfort they go back because they don't want to feel that. But that's a part of adjusting to the new space. But they think it means that I've done something wrong.
No,
so I need to go
and
back.
it's not to say that you're not going to look back and go, "What have I done?" Like, oh my gosh, I miss my creek, guys. I miss like the connection with nature out there. I do miss that. But I also needed to make way because the family who bought my house had 3 children.
Wow.
And here I was, a single woman living in this giant house.
Right.
Like, they were so excited.
To
Those
have that,
kids
that
were
space.
running around in the yard. Like, I got to know them a little bit. And they were so lovely. And you know, I kept saying, Spirit, is this the right thing to do? And Spirit was like, yes, you bought the house back to life.
Right.
And now it's time for it to enjoy life with this family.
Wow. Wow.
I mean, it was clear as day. It was clear as day. But the house also brought me back to life because it was a time after my mom's passing that was very mournful, and me getting to experience all her furniture that she wouldn't let go of in that space. I had space for it, and I got to look at it, and
you got to
enjoy
set it up, right?
and
Sit in
like,
it,
like do all the things, like have people have parties over there, like
Yeah.
people get it, and then I'm like, you know what? I don't need this anymore.
Right. Wow, that's wonderful. That is so beautiful.
Yeah.
So beautiful.
So just know I'm not saying this process is easy at all, but just listen to the guidance that your heart's giving you. It really is amazing how it will unfold.
And for our viewers' purposes, how are you dealing with the discomfort now? Like, how are you dealing with the feelings?
I go through rages of like cursing and
that's cool. That's cool.
I totally like beat myself up. What have I done? Why have I been doing this?
I had this perfect situation,
and but I didn't. Like, that's just the monkey mind making up stories.
Right.
You know, I was driving a long way to come into town every day for work.
Yeah.
Like, when there was a lot of water, I had the creek in the front, and it would like, you know, get really high and be over the bridge, and I'm like, oh my gosh, everything's gonna wash away, you know. But it didn't. The house had been there for 200 years. It wasn't going anywhere. But it was just that fear, you know. But I don't miss feeling panicked if there's a big rain, you know, like. So
you look at reality. You say when the monkey mind starts talking and saying, you know, you had the perfect situation. You say you're a damn lie. We didn't have the perfect situation. We had floods going on. I had to drive. So you look at the real. You look at reality.
At the reality.
I mean, it was nice, but look, I was stressing myself. I had to take out the housekeeper. Plus, I was a shower. Plus, I was.
Yes. I had guests coming. Yeah, like it was like I had fishermen coming sometimes, and I was always like fixing things to make sure it was perfect. So it, you know, like there was just a lot of gifts, but a lot of work.
Yeah,
ton of work. People don't think about it. You're like, oh, an 1850s farmhouse. How cool is that? And you're like. Have you watched Farmhouse Fixer? Okay,
right.
Like you see like all the things that can happen. I mean, the house was so kind to me, and there wasn't anything that I couldn't deal with. But there was a lot of times where I was like, "Oh my God, how am I going to fix this?" So, and what's even cooler, and this is this is just a little side caveat, but my daughter had been going to film school and working full time, and she started doing film editing, like film editing. And so her first job that was offered to her after school was to work on HGTV for a company that does the film editing for HGTV.
Oh, cool.
And the show that she's been doing is Farmhouse Fixer. And she was like, Mom, my whole life has built up to this.
Wow.
Like, she's like, you're a designer. You had the farmhouse. You showed me how all was done. And she said, now I can edit it perfectly.
Wow.
And so that's, you just don't know who you're infecting, and who you're being an example for. So, yeah.
So
It's
now
amazing.
there's a new life. There's
Yes.
a whole new life that's being created. Because there's a life that has been that you're done with, and so
Yes.
there's something else emerging now in you.
Yes.
A whole new life.
Yes.
That consists of new things.
Yes.
And
maybe all of them hasn't even shown up yet.
Right, I was going to say some of them are becoming clear to you
Yes.
as we speak. Some of the stuff
Yes.
you probably know already. Can you tell us a little bit about this new stuff that's happening? Like some of the things that's being revealed to you. One of the things you said, and I just want to reiterate,
Okay.
that you've been appointed to be a light of the neighborhood.
Yes, a light of
That's
the
powerful.
It is powerful.
That's very powerful.
Yes.
So that's
yes.
one thing that's
Yes.
come out of this.
Yes.
Is there
yes.
anything else that?
Yes. Well, and living by example, in the neighborhood, and just being kind, and like kindness wants to spread. And so the more you're kind to others around you and share what you have, the more that, other people start doing it. Just like you in this neighborhood. Why don't you talk about your little garden and your things.
I have this garden
Yes.
that's going on, and of course I've started to. I mean, when I first moved here, it was really. I got burglarized,
Yeah.
But since then, since 6 years ago, I think I've made a positive impact on the neighborhood, and the neighborhood has made a positive impact on me. And as a result of the love that I've learned from Unity and spread to the neighborhood, I'm getting it back 2-3-fold.
Yes.
And
exactly.
I enjoy it.
Exactly.
I really enjoy
And you
it.
do such a great job with this podcast. Like, it's amazing.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. If you guys haven't watched other ones, please go and check them out, because Shannon has just done a great job.
Well,
like,
thank you.
uplifting.
Yeah.
the midweek uplift. Yes.
And it was good. It was good seeing you at church the other day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really enjoyed. I love when you come. Yeah.
I don't get over there as much, but hopefully now I'm in town, I can be here a little more.
And that's what I was
Yes.
talking about a little earlier. I was like, like sometimes when we shift, our lives shift, it brings on a whole new type of requirement. Things are gonna, our lives change, so we become something different.
Right,
like
exactly.
where we were once.
We're
focused.
evolving.
Yeah.
We're evolving.
Yeah. So
Yes.
I know for me, I'm a lot more social than I used to be, because I'm involved in the church. I'm involved
Yes.
on the board, and
Yes,
so I
yes.
have people over doing the podcast.
Yes,
I go out to
yes.
dinner with people. So
Yes, yes.
it pushed me to be a little bit more social.
Yes,
So I'm
yes.
sure this move
And
is going to do
this
something.
is going to
with
be
you.
more social for me too.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a good, the farmhouse was a good time to just kind of reflect inward and and be with those feelings and those experiences that I was, reliving that I missed with my family.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's going to be much more social. I don't know what the future holds with my work or my side, work, which I'm doing some interesting design stuff on my own.
Yeah, you came over here. You went in my backyard.
I was already like,
you need
could
to
do
put this
and
color.
that,
Yeah,
and
and I appreciate that.
Yeah,
and maybe we'll hang out more now that you're down in the city.
Exactly,
So it's
exactly.
cool. Yeah.
But yeah, what's interesting for me in my design work is usually Spirit wants to come in and deliver a little message. And as we talked, it's such a gift. I love when that happens. It doesn't happen every time, but I love when it happens, because when they've called, it's about one thing, but it's really about another thing. And so, and when you can kind of get them into get their space in a space that gives them joy when they come home. It's amazing.
Yeah.
I just worked with a lady last week, and she was just like, I can't tell you how joyful I feel when I walk in the door now. And that is the greatest thing ever. Like that just makes my heart sing. Yeah.
And so you're doing that on the side.
Yes, I'm doing some of that as in the evenings and stuff. So yeah.
So do you want to provide an email if anyone's interested in maybe having you? Are you open to that now, or are you still kind of working on your own stuff?
I'm still kind of working a little bit on it, but yeah, if anybody wants to reach out to you and you can pass it to me, then we'll do it.
Cool.
We'll do it that way. But I've kind of been calling it transformational design because
I love that.
It really, like we can transform the space, but it's, to me, there's a transformation happening on the inside. And so when you make a space where you can really get in touch with your feelings and your thoughts and like what means the most to you, when you've got too much clutter in your house, you can't do that. Like it immediately hits you when you walk in the room, like, oh, I need to work on that. Oh, I got that project. Oh, I got this. When you can get calm happening there, or just and it's not about like tearing down walls and doing all that stuff. Like that's for HGTV. Like I can help with that, but most of the time when I did this, 20 years ago, and it's interesting that I'm revisiting this now, 20 years.
Wow.
Is when you can get that like kind of just energy flowing in your house, then you can take your joy out into the world and others can experience.
I had a friend come by a couple weeks, about a month ago, came by and I was things were kind of tight here as far as the space. I wasn't living at my full potential as far as the space is concerned.
Right.
When she came in, she said, Shannon, you need to do this, and this. And when she said what she said, because I had
it just hit you. Yeah.
It just hit me.
Yes.
And it spoke to what I didn't know I was feeling, but when she said it resonated with me.
Yes.
So I said, this woman is right.
Yes. It's kind of reading the space. So she was probably doing the same thing I do. Like just when you walk in, you can kind of read like, okay, this needs to shift here and that needs to here, and then you can settle in.
And I had planned to move. Completely move. I was going to sell a house.
Yeah.
And I was going to buy something further out. I wanted to live on a farm. And she said, you need to do this, this, and this. And when she said that, she said, you don't need to sell this house.
Yeah.
And it's not.
And I agree with her.
And nobody can come and convince me of shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm pretty hard on my stuff. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But so she was speaking to my heart.
Yes.
And when she said it, it just made so much sense. I said, I'm selling this house.
Yes. And so she was clearly a fellow spiritualist and like totally resonating with that.
And God will send us those.
Yes.
When we're asking,
those
you
touch
talk about
stones,
that.
those touchstones, those people that you don't expect that come out of the blue and like give you information that you really needed to hear.
I needed to hear. I would have been gone out of here by now, And so I'm so grateful for her.
Yay.
Beth, I'm grateful for you coming.
Thank you. This has been really great.
I love when you come. And I'd like to have you back when you are a little bit more nested in your situation to kind of see what's transpired. Because we had you a year ago, we had you now. So
I know. I look back at that video and I'm like, oh my gosh, like so much has changed since then.
And that's wonderful. You know what? It's good to look back and see how much you've changed.
Yes, it's incredible how the transformation has happened.
And I think the biggest thing that I got from this podcast, it's all right for us to, go from one vision to another. Like changing your vision. Yeah. Like it's okay to change that. Yeah, we're not hostages to it.
We're not hostages to it. And just because, Spirit and God gave you this one experience doesn't mean there's no more experiences left, because if you don't let go of that, you can't get to the next one.
So I'm grateful for you coming out.
So just trusting
trusting.
Trust. It's the best advice to give is just trust. Yeah. So thank you.
And I want to remind our viewers that we're here every Wednesday at 4 p.m. For our Midweek Faith Lift. We have a special guest sometimes, and sometimes we'll have Doug come in and just give us some lessons on.
Doug has great lessons to share, for sure.
He really does. I love Doug. He'll be back next week.
Okay.
So you should tune in.
Yes, I will tune in.
And then also we have a spiritual connection group. The Unity Chattanooga has a spiritual connection group. We meet every Thursday at Whole Foods.
I still call it Green Life, people. That's how long I've been here. Yeah. It used to be called Green Life. It was like one of the first like organic food stores around. Really? Yeah, it was great.
Well, things are changing here in Chattanooga.
Things are changing everywhere, people. Like just
and maybe that's a part of that energy that's happening all over the world.
It's happening all over the world. It's not just me. I mean, if you're on any kind of spiritual path, like you're seeing this evolution happening, and whether it's politically, whether it's socially, whether it's in your town, I think the pandemic has done one thing, and that has changed everything.
A shift is happening.
A shift is happening. So for me, we were super busy in the beginning of the pandemic with my day job, and we kept everything going, and just craziness happened, like keeping on top of everything. And now our business is shifting too, and we have new management and stuff, and so we'll see where that all takes us. But if you didn't experience a lot of change in the beginning of the pandemic, you're getting it now.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Like that's the bottom line.
And it's important. I think at this point in time, like while all this stuff is happening, and it's happening for something new that's coming. That's emerging.
It's trying so hard to birth this newness. Yeah. So I just say embrace the change, and just trust.
Trust and hold. And for me, it's just a matter of just staying anchored in my spirituality.
Yes.
Because that's what's going to get me through all of
and
this.
Don't get caught up in all the rhetoric either. Just really stay focused on what is meaningful to you, and still love your friends if they're, believing in a different way. That's their journey and that's their experience. And so honoring, that's okay. They don't have to be exactly the same as you. That's what makes for great friendships. Yeah. But just, knowing that they're on a journey as well. Yeah.
So we meet at Whole Foods every Thursday at 6:00 on the mezzanine, and a bunch of us get together. We just talk spiritual stuff sometimes. Sometimes we just kind of check in with each other. We do that on Thursdays, and you're welcome to join us.
Thank you.
And also we have we do a movement meditation on Sunday morning at around 10:30, right before the 11 o'clock service.
Nice.
So you came to church 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
Now, did you participate in that, or you got there at 11?
I got there after 11 because I was running late.
Cool,
yeah.
Cool.
The nice thing with Unity is nobody looks at you like, how dare you?
We're
late.
we really don't care.
Yeah. We're just happy you're there. Yeah. So, but my heart needed it. Like, I'd had a rough weekend, so my heart had needed it. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, we have that morning movement kind of thing that we do, and that kind of opens us up.
Yes, opens up the chakras.
Yeah,
open up
but
the
you come in all tight.
The little heart, you
come in all tight and rigid, and when Laura Noyes starts that whole movement stuff, she gets us really loose and opens us up. We can hear a message. We can get really in tune with Landis's music and really rock to it.
Landis, oh my gosh, his voice is amazing. Yeah. Like if you guys haven't experienced that, it is hands down one of the best voices I've ever heard in my life.
Wow.
So
that's
just
a big compliment.
Great musician, singer, everything.
So I welcome our viewers to join us at 11 o'clock on Sunday morning at Red Bank Community Center. Also, if you like, you can like this podcast by giving us a thumbs up. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel, Unity of Chattanooga, our YouTube channel. Subscribe to that, and then we have a group that you can join on Facebook called Friends of Unity of Chattanooga. Now, I don't see your name on there.
I didn't even know that. Yeah, because I'm not very good with Facebook. People. Okay, I'm terrible with Facebook. So, Again, the social media I don't do a ton of.
It's not required. If you're a person that you're on Facebook, please join us.
Just think about what we did before Facebook, people. I tend to be in that organic group of if it's meant for me, it's going to show up.
Right.
And it does. Think about what they did in the 1800s.
Lord have mercy. Yeah.
I mean,
they survived.
Things just showed up.
Yeah.
Things just showed up.
Yeah.
So
and it worked.
And it's kind of fun sometimes because you're like, oh, that was cool, and it came from nothing but thin air.
Yeah.
So that's my favorite experience. So anyway, well, thank you, Shannon. This has been lovely.
Thank you, and I look forward to seeing you next time.
Okay.
I want to say bye to our viewers.
Bye.
Spirit flow through me as I open up to be an expression of your unfolding peace. Show